Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our presentation today. My name is Cara Kurtz, and I am the Senior Coordinator of Business Development at ASTA, and I will also be the organizer for today's presentation. We are very happy to welcome today's presenter, Nicole. Nicole is experienced Scottsdale Tourism Sales Manager. Nicole has been with the agency since 2016, when it was formerly Scottsdale CVB. During this time, she has managed North America and South America while collaborating with luxury travel agents in both markets. Nicole has a vast experience in the travel tourism industry throughout Scottsdale and Phoenix over the past 20 years. Her career began with Hyatt Hotels and has included opportunities with Fairmont Hotels, several destination management companies, and various other sales manager roles. Nicole is one of the rare Amazon natives who can proudly claim to be born in Scottsdale, so she is truly passionate about her career. Today, Nicole has a special guest and will be joined by experienced Scottsdale Vice President, Deanne Bonton Group. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few important features on your screen that will allow you to interact with us via the web. We will be answering your questions at the end of this presentation. To ask a question, you will be using your Go-To Webinar pane. Near the bottom of this pane is an area that says questions. If you click the arrow next to where it says questions, this will open up the window pane that you'll be using to communicate with us today. If you're having trouble hearing this presentation, please make sure that your speakers are turned on. And if you've called in, please try hanging up and dialing back in again. You can send me any technical issues via the questions pane, and I will try to answer them via the same pane to the best of my ability. Please also note, within this pane, there is a PDF copy of today's presentation. Please be sure to download this PDF, as it will only be available during this presentation, and it includes very important contact information. Please also note all audience members are muted. We certainly want to hear from you all, but with so many people on the call, background noise would prove to be prohibitive, and we want to ensure that everyone can hear our entire presentation. Remember, one of today's lucky webinar attendees will be winning a very special prize courtesy of Scottsdale. In order to be eligible to win, you must be on this presentation from beginning to end. We will be announcing the winner live after our Q&A session. Finally, please remember that this webinar is being recorded and will be available for your on-demand viewing at asta.org by early next week. Now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome the Scottsdale ladies.
Great, thank you so much, Cara. And everyone, good afternoon and welcome to sunny Scottsdale. My name is Nicole Kreckler, and as Cara mentioned, today myself and Deanne Boynton from Experience Scottsdale have the absolute pleasure of showing you around our beautiful destination. Next, Cara, we're having some small technical difficulties, so Cara is assisting me with the slideshow.
Hello, this is Deanne Boynton. You can see my picture right there on that segue. It is a pleasure to be here today. I have been with Experience Scottsdale for just over 22 years and am an Arizona native. And I have to say that during my tenure in the industry, I've worked with all segments of tourism-related businesses: airlines, hotels, meeting planners, event producers, the list goes on. But of all of our amazing travel trade partners, travel advisors like you have always held a special place in my heart. Travel advisors have a true love for travel, and you understand that it's such a good force, a force for good. And you believe that the world is like a book, and if you don't travel to see it, you're only reading one page. And so travel advisors know that travel is a privilege. It's a treasure, because memories that are created through travel change people's lives. And by traveling, you have an understanding of a different perspective, and that perspective is priceless. So I really do feel blessed in speaking with you today. You are the heart and soul of our travel industry, and you guys are so resilient. So thank you for joining us. We're going to talk about an exciting destination that Nicole and I love and near and dear to our hearts, Scottsdale. And so we're going to tell you a little bit about this gem in the desert. So Scottsdale's always been known as an upscale destination with an eye for luxury experiences. Since the early 1800s, our town has provided travelers with a respite, a place to escape and rejuvenate their spirit, to relax and to get back to nature. So while our home is known for some of the country's best hotels and resorts, which you're going to learn about today, we want you to understand the true essence of our destination, and that can be found in our lush, vibrant desert, as you see here. Some folks who aren't familiar with Scottsdale don't realize that we actually have one of the most green, lush deserts in the world. Right now, I'm looking out the window, and it's in full bloom right now, and we're cherishing this time, enjoying the fresh air and all those sweet desert smells. We had dinner outside last night, and I just didn't want it to end. It was so gorgeous out there, and we hope that you'll be able to come here and experience that as well in the near future. So here in Scottsdale, when we talk about our desert, it's important for you to understand that when we say we're surrounded by the Sonoran Desert, we truly are. We've even preserved about 30,000 acres of our McDowell Mountains to create a preserve where visitors and residents alike can get out and explore our gorgeous desert. So especially in today's travel environment, all of that wide open space and room to roam is one of our best selling points. We were talking the other day, and we had heard that iHeartRadio recently reported that Scottsdale is the #1 destination to spend your quarantine. So for better or worse, we thought that was a great compliment because we do have an endless amount of sunshine. Our outdoor experience opportunities are endless, and we have an easy access to a plethora of other amenities. So really, it's not a bad place to weather this storm, and we've truly been enjoying it. So let's click to the next slide now. So I want to talk a little bit about the services that we can provide to you. At Experience Scottsdale, we're here to serve you. You're very skilled travel purveyors, and it's our job to make your job just all that easier. We can provide you with free guides like the ones that you see here on the screen to pass along to your clients. Be sure to write down that website at the bottom so that you can access them online. We send all of our promotional materials to you free of charge, so never hesitate to ask for any quantity that you may need. We also ask that we also can put you in touch with our local suppliers and ask that they provide you rate quotes. So if you have a group, or if you have a family or a group of friends that are coming to Scottsdale, we send them the request for your client's specific needs, and we ask that they provide you the rates, and then we put you in direct connection with them. So it's a really nice service that we offer for free. And we will do this for any of our experiences. So if you're looking for that unique restaurant, or you're looking for a museum or an outdoor provider, experience provider, don't be afraid to ask us, because we're happy to put you in touch with them. We realize that your greatest asset is the information you have about any given destination. So we want to make sure that we have you fully ready to provide that information to your clients. And our contact information will be shown again at the end of this presentation. So be sure to stay in touch with us and let us know how we can help you plan your next Arizona itinerary. So with that,
and Deanne, if I can just interject for one moment, this is Cara. I feel like this is a perfect time to launch a quick poll for all of our attendees and just see how many of our advisors out there have been selling Scottsdale before they're able to reach out and start working with our amazing reps after today's webinar.
Yes, perfect.
Great. We'll give you guys a moment to answer that question.
I noticed it says we can't vote, Deanne.
All right, we will go ahead and give everyone a few more seconds. And with that, it looks like majority has voted. So I will go ahead and close out our poll and leave it to you ladies to take it away. Thank you.
Great. Well, that was the perfect time
Great.
to transition to the next slide. And I'll turn it over to you, Nicole, so you can give everyone a lay of the land here in Scottsdale.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Deanne. So for those of you that have not been to our serene city, we are located here in the heart of Arizona. That red dot there, we are a suburb of Phoenix, as you can see, and Arizona is known as the Grand Canyon state. And yes, the entire Grand Canyon is in our amazing state. No matter what some of our friends to the north try to claim, the Grand Canyon is ours and ours alone. But as you can see here with Scottsdale's central location, it really makes us a perfect gateway destination. In blue here, we've got some of our national parks and monuments, including the Grand Canyon National Park, the Petrified National Forest, Saguaro National Park to the south. Fun fact about saguaros, those big cactuses with the arms, the one I was hugging earlier, which I don't recommend doing, is the saguaro cactus only grows in the Sonoran Desert, which is the northern tip of Mexico through central Arizona. So if you're ever watching one of those old westerns and John Wayne is riding his horse through the desert and he claims to be somewhere in Texas and he passes the saguaro, he's not in Texas. He's probably filming somewhere here in Arizona, or it's a prop, but they really are one of our more iconic things known to Arizona. But Scottsdale is about one and a half hours to Sedona drive time, or 4 hours to the Grand Canyon. We, if driving to these destinations is not your thing, we have some local providers that can drive you up there in luxury. You can even take flights from Scottsdale Airport up to the Grand Canyon as well. So, but I'll let Deanne touch on a little bit of that in a bit. So next slide, please, Cara. Scottsdale itself is 32 miles north to south and 7 miles east to west. So she is long and skinny. And as Deanne touched on a little bit earlier, roughly one third of our city is actually protected Sonoran Desert Preserve. And with only 250,000 residents, you'll definitely find that there's plenty of room to roam here. Some of my favorite things to do in Scottsdale is to go into the preserve and go on a hike with my favorite buddy Lola, my pup, go for a walk through our quaint old town, or ride bikes through the green belt that runs right through the heart of Scottsdale with my daughter, or eat outside. We have so many amazing outdoor patio options. And what's really unique about our restaurants too is that they're very chef driven with a lot of local ingredients, very much that farm to table aspect. Believe it or not, here in Arizona, because we do have so much sunshine, we grow so many amazing foods that we can then cultivate and put into the dishes. So next slide, please. I would be remiss if I did not touch upon sunshine here in Scottsdale. With over 330 days of sunshine, it's really hard to find a reason not to go outside. However, it is important to realize that Scottsdale seasons are a little bit different than some of our other U.S. destinations. Our high season is going to be January through April, where the average temperature is a lovely 72 degrees, and then rolling into what we call our first shoulder season, or our summer season, which many people, if you've never been to our region, think that it is summer all the time. And that's not actually accurate. It is not 100 degrees all day, every day of the year. The great thing about our summer season is that you can come and stay at a very exclusive resort, 5-star resort, for a fraction of a price. These resorts will run incredible deals and packages for families or couples, or, you know, girls getaways, whatever your heart may desire. And believe it or not, the dry heat is a thing. And it is something that we do talk about because if you've never been to the desert, a dry 90 is very different than a dry 90 with 90% humidity. I can assure you that as a native visiting some destinations on the East Coast in the summer, I actually wish I was back home in our triple digit temperatures. But you know, it's really, why wouldn't you come out to Scottsdale in the summer for great rates? You can enjoy a cocktail by the pool and some of our amazing hospitality. And the third season I want to touch on is our second shoulder season. And really, in my opinion, is kind of that hidden gem season. It's October through December. We've got great temperatures that time of year. And even when it cools down a little bit, our pools at all of our resorts are heated. So definitely something to keep in mind if you're looking for that holiday travel. Scottsdale really is a great destination all year round. So with that, next slide, please. For those of you that have not been to Scottsdale, here's some top reasons to book, and we'll touch on these a bit more as we go through our presentation. But obviously, our hotels and resorts, I just touched upon those value seasons. Great golf. If you are a golfer, this is definitely a destination you need to put on your list. Easy airport access, being so close to Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. Again, the Sonoran Desert really is the soul of who we are. Activities and adventure, I'll let Dan touch on that a little bit. Arts and culture, as well as dining and nightlife. Premier special events, which I'm sure a few of you have probably been out to experience, Barrett-Jackson or Waste Management golf tournament, and of course our world-renowned spas. Next, please. So to touch on some of those, Deanne and I have put together some different itinerary different itinerary options to speak upon the things that we love to do and see here in Scottsdale. So let's start with the exclusive resorts and spas. While we have some of the bigger chains, our specialty is the one-of-a-kind boutique properties. For example, the Sanctuary Resort here. I mean, look at those spectacular mountain views. I don't know about you, but I want to hop in one of those lounge chairs and grab myself something cool to drink. But next slide, please. When you come to Scottsdale, you will find that very few of our hotels are over 3 stories high. Our resorts are all built on a horizontal access rather than a vertical one. And there's a few reasons for this. We have lots of space here for our resorts and golf courses to utilize. And our town has really made it a point to preserve these views of the beautiful mountain ranges that surround us, so each resort can have a piece of that view. This property here, the Camelback Inn, a fun fact, it's a Marriott property. It was one of the Marriott family's first owned and operated properties, and the Marriott family to this day still owns that property, and rumor has it they spend a few of their vacations a year here, right in the heart of the desert. So next slide, please. And while we have always been known as a luxury destination where people go to escape and revitalize, we are not the biggest town, and our focus is on quality rather than quantity. We aim to provide our guests with a personal experience so that they can enjoy it at their own pace. Next slide, please. And speaking of enjoying things at your own pace, this is one of my favorite paces, which is a spa day pace. Here in Scottsdale, we have over 50 day and resort spas. No, I have not been to all of them, but I am definitely going to make myself a little bucket list for sure. But what really makes our spas so special is the uniqueness of them, including the treatments. They really are one of a kind to Arizona, all the way down to the ingredients and the products, which are right here from our own rich land and farms. You can go and enjoy a service, or if you just want to purchase a day pass, a lot of our resorts also have that opportunity where you can enjoy a dip in a mineral pool or a pedicure with a prickly pear mimosa, and just really relax and revitalize. Next, please. And I would be remiss if I did not mention golf. Scottsdale is known as the world's finest golf destination. And honestly, it's easy to see when you consider the presence of high caliber courses like the TPC Scottsdale, True North, and Greyhawk. Add in the stunning Sonoran Desert and mountain views at every turn, impeccably manicured greens, and top-notch staff. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more welcoming place to enjoy a round of golf in a lifetime. Next slide, please. And speaking of those golf courses, we've got 3 different distinct types of courses. We have your traditional course with water hazards, a links course, but our specialty is desert golf, like here, with narrow fairways surrounded by natural beauty. And while each of these courses offers its own set of challenges, it definitely puts each player on an even playing field. So we really are a year-round golf destination here in Scottsdale. But with that, Deanne and I have selected 3 itineraries that we believe your clients would enjoy so that you can impart this information to that. So Deanne, take it away.
Okay, our first set of itinerary ideas revolve around outdoor adventures. And let me tell you, we have mastered the art of outdoor adventure here in Scottsdale. To start off with, you see a picture here of a lovely couple enjoying a hot air balloon ride. And this is one of our most luxurious experiences. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing to do, particularly over the desert setting. So this time of year, you're able to have a hot air balloon ride at sunrise or at sunset. And both have amazing attributes. So for example, if you take a hot air balloon ride at sunrise, you get to watch all of the desert flora and fauna coming to life for the day. So you see coyote running through the desert and rabbits waking up. There have even been some sightings of some rare animals like some mountain lions that are calling it a night from an evening of hunting. And so you can see some really, really beautiful sights from an aerial tour like a hot air balloon. Our hot air balloon companies have all different types of basket sizes. So you could be in a small basket like this couple here enjoying a romantic hot air balloon ride. Or you could take the whole family. If you've got a family that's interested in this experience, you can have a basket for all of them. One of our companies in particular has a large basket for 20 people, so that even works for family reunions. If you'd like them to put plexiglass dividers in there, you can do that as well. So they're really working to work within today's requirements for health and safety. So yeah, hot air ballooning is one thing in Scottsdale also is we do have the most flyable days for hot air ballooning without any temperate weather or wind challenges. We have fairly low winds here. We're able to get a lot of time in the air. So that's great. Let's flip to the next slide. Outdoor adventure with off-roading. So oftentimes when you think of off-roading, you think, okay, I need to be a high adventure type to be able to withstand this. And actually, not really. We have something for every different type of adventure you're looking for. So what you're seeing here is a Jeep tour. And you can take a tour with a group as small as 4. And they go in a kind of a trail setting. If you'll notice, these are very specific trails that have been carved not to harm a lot of our desert, but you still get to get out into the backwoods of the Tonto Forest. Or you could take a Hummer tour. It's a big military vehicle that seats up to 10 passengers. And that ride is really unique because they're built to go on any type of surface. And I've seen a Humvee vehicle can go completely vertical over rocks, and it's very safe. You're harnessed in. So 2 very different types of guided tour experiences. We also have self-drive vehicles. For those who are looking for a little more high adventure, you can rent a Razor or a Tom car. And I will admit I've done this myself, and they're not hard to operate. They are safe, particularly the Tom cars have suspension that's individualized for each wheel. So you're never completely airborne. There's always a wheel that's on the land. And so that's a really fun activity to do and to include into your itineraries. Let's go to the next slide. Segway tours. So Scottsdale has capitalized on some of these urban adventures because, like we talked about, we've got a lot of free open space to roam, even in our downtown area. So here's an example of a crew that's out there enjoying the Segway, and it almost naturally social distances you because of the way that the Segway operates. But these folks are right in our downtown area near City Hall in front of our Love sculpture, and they're enjoying a Segway tour in our beautiful sunny weather. You can take these tours throughout our Old Town area. You can also take them up our Greenbelt. Scottsdale has miles of Greenbelt to its east. Or, believe it or not, you can take specialized vehicles with larger wheels out into the desert and experience a Segway tour. So this is something fun, and I was just driving the other day and I saw quite a few people out there, local residents, that were taking tours themselves. So this is something fun and unique you can build into your customers' itineraries. We do have other urban tours that are kind of fun as well, like electric bike tours. We have photography tours, even some historical walking tours where you can just be outside in our great weather and experience our area within the urban setting. So let's go to the next slide. So this is kayaking, and a lot of people will think this is in another destination, but believe it or not, Scottsdale is surrounded by 6 lakes and 2 rivers. So we've got water sports. This is taking place right at the end of winter. You can kind of see that the plant, the larger tree there that's starting to bloom or starting to get its green leaves back. But what you see in the background are real wild horses, and this isn't rare. We have gone on kayak tours just with our team, and almost every time we go out, we see these horses taking a dip into the river or having a drink of water, and it's just such an unbelievable experience to see them out in the wild as you kayak on by. You can also river raft. We have some mild river rafting just outside of Scottsdale. You can paddleboard as well. There are parts of the river and obviously in the lakes the water is very calm, and so it makes for a lovely day of paddleboarding as well. We have several companies that will provide the equipment. If you'd like to paddle and do a paddleboarding experience on your own, you can do that. For kayaking and river rafting, they do have guided tours to make sure that you know where to go. They also know the secret water hole spots where the horses tend to water, so it is nice to go on a few of those. Another nice attribute a lot of people don't always realize is that we have a guest ranch not too far from Scottsdale. It's about 40 minutes right outside. And all of the activities that I just mentioned, you can access from that guest ranch. It's a very small dude ranch, but you don't have to stay there to be able to experience some of the activities. You can just go out and enjoy. So let's go on to the next slide. So, of course, we talked about hiking, but we also have mountain biking. And we do have many trails throughout Scottsdale with nice manicured pathways for mountain biking. We've also got some more rocky, adventurous ones, if that's what your clients are looking for. Many of our biking outfitters have made all kinds of adjustments to make sure that clients are feeling safe with sanitized equipment. You are able to wear a mask or gloves if you would like to while mountain biking, but they do sanitize the bikes as well as the helmets and all the equipment as you go along. Some of our smaller businesses have been receiving a lot of requests from residents and some visitors alike in recent weeks just to get out and experience the wonderful weather and do so by bike. There are just a lot of ways to be able to access things quickly by bike, and so you can see the desert any time of night or day. In addition to hiking, of course, we do have a lot of the same activities via hiking. It just depends what your forte is. So next slide. This is an activity that's near and dear to my heart. As I mentioned, I'm from Arizona, so I grew up around a lot of horses. And experiencing our desert horseback is just something, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And it's such a calming, relaxing jaunt through the desert where you can just take it all in at a slower pace. Whether you're a first-time rider, we have the companies that will provide horseback riding will help you and show you how to saddle up your horse, how to mount the horse, the basics. You can certainly take a guided tour. We recommend that if you're a first-time rider. It's good for families. Children 6 and up are able to go horseback riding in our desert. And then for the more experienced riders, think of it as renting a horse, just like you would rent a car. You can do like this gentleman is doing and just take a leisurely stroll through the desert via horseback, and you can explore on your own. They do provide you with a map so that you know where the limits are and the best places to go. Some of the horseback riding adventures cross streams and small rivers, and so that's kind of a fun thing to do as well. And of course, if you would like a guide with you, we have plenty of outfitters and suppliers here that offer horseback riding experiences. One of our most unique ones that I like to always mention is our Arizona Cowboy College. If you remember that movie City Slickers, they learned how to wrangle cattle and sleep out under the stars. We have a company that actually offers that experience for our visitors, and you can take a 3 or 5 day tour, so to speak, but you're really working the whole time, and you can learn how to rope cattle and ride a horse and live like a cowboy for a few days. They come complete with outdoor cookouts and sleeping in tents or under the stars. So that's a really fun thing to recommend for clients that are looking to really get into that cowboy culture. We also offer dinners in the desert that you can access by horseback ride or hay ride. And that's another amazing activity to get out and explore the desert scenery as well. So with that, we will go on to arts and culture now, Cara. I'm going to turn it back over to Nicole, and she'll give you some itinerary ideas for clients who are interested in exploring the arts and experiencing our culture.
Great, thank you, Deanne. Yes, culture and arts. We are so blessed here in Arizona. Being in the Southwest, our Native American culture truly runs very deep. Arizona is made up of 22 tribes, which is actually more than any other state in the U.S. And here in Scottsdale, we have so many options for you to easily explore this culture. For example, the Heard Museum. The Heard Museum is renowned for its outstanding collection of Native American art and cultural artifacts from the tribes of the Southwest. This museum also hosts the annual World Hoop Dancing Championship and is home to the largest kachina collection, which I always remember seeing on field trips as a kid and trying to count them all. But another great thing here in Scottsdale is the American Indian Cultural Festival, which is held in the spring. You can sample traditional Indian fry bread or do a little jewelry purchase, which is probably my favorite thing on the planet, is turquoise jewelry. But at a lot of our resorts, you can also experience traditional hoop dancing and storytelling right there on property. Next slide, please. Of course, being in the Southwest, our cowboy culture is embedded in who we are even today. Scottsdale is a place where you will find the Old West meets the New West, and those traditions are still happening today with events like the Parada del Sol Rodeo and Parade, which has been running continuously for 66 years right here in Scottsdale, making Parada del Sol Rodeo one of the longest running rodeos in the U.S. Kind of a fun little tidbit about this picture, the gentleman on the far right, his name is Cole, and he and I actually went to high school together. We were in auto mechanic shop together our junior and senior year, so I know a few cowboys in my day too. But another cool thing about our cowboy culture is the Pony Express. Believe it or not, the Pony Express is something that you don't just see in movies and is still alive and well here in Arizona. The oldest officially sanctioned Pony Express celebrated its 61st year here. And with riders blazing their trail from the small northern Arizona town of Holbrook down to Scottsdale, after many days of riding, the Hash Knife Pony Express will arrive here in Scottsdale at high noon as they welcome their arrival, they conclude their 200-mile trek with more than 20,000 pieces of mail and finishing off at the Western Spirit Museum, the Scottsdale Museum of the West. Next slide, please. The museum, the Spirit of the West, Scottsdale Museum of the West is actually a Smithsonian-affiliated museum right here in Old Town Scottsdale. The museum celebrates the Spirit of the West through changing exhibitions of fine art, rare historic artifacts, and cultural treasures like Texas Ranger badges, hand-tooled saddles, and Native American jewelry. One of my favorite takeaways, on Tuesdays they do locals get in for free. So I, you know, on a Tuesday here and there, like to pop in and see some new exhibits. They do have some rotating exhibits, but the thing that I always remember and make sure to point out to people is a tomahawk. It was Clark's tomahawk from the Lewis and Clark expedition. It's one of the last artifacts. I believe it's that and a compass from their expedition are the two remaining items in circulation. So kind of a cool little thing, but next slide, please. Here in Scottsdale, art is a huge part of who we are, whether it be exploring one of our museums or you can explore the art out and about on your own. Public art is actually integrated into our city. As you can see here, into our city's design, we have over 70 public art installations. So as you walk around, you'll see art exhibits strewn throughout the city, random sculptures placed on fences or in the middle of the city. Some of them are even interactive art exhibits as well. But for example, here you've got the watermark, and some of our well-known art exhibits are One-Eyed Jack and the Doors of Sound and Passage, which are both located right here in the heart of Scottsdale. We also have a working artist commune that has been here since the 30s and is still in operation. This artist commune was so well known that if you were traveling out west, you may have stopped by for a night or two and run into the likes of the legendary Frank Lloyd Wright. Next slide, please. And as a matter of fact, Frank Lloyd Wright was so captivated by the Sonoran Desert's natural beauty and sunny climate that he chose Scottsdale as the location for his winter home and architectural school, Taliesin West, which is featured here. They still offer daily tours that provide an insider look into Wright's airy ingenious designs and his ability to seamlessly blend indoor and outdoor spaces. This location truly is an incredible gem to have here in Scottsdale with the reflecting pool outside. You can take different types of tours, one being a behind the scenes tour where you'll get to go into Mr. Wright's bedroom as well as his wife's bedroom. And there is a theater at Taliesin West, and it's amazing how so many years ago they were able to hone in on the acoustics of this theater, and it is one of the first theaters with pathway lighting, as a matter of fact. But most recently, Taliesin West became a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which, you know, in this day and age, it's so important to preserve some of our history and past. So we're very blessed to have that. And with that, I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Deanne for another Arizona adventure.
Thanks, Nicole. So what a lot of people don't realize is that Scottsdale and Phoenix are located right in the center of the state of Arizona. So this makes us a perfect gateway for activities beyond our town's borders. For example, you see a photo of the Grand Canyon here. As we mentioned earlier, we're only about a 4-hour drive from the Grand Canyon. So if you wanted to, you could experience the Grand Canyon and then come back to your luxurious resort in Scottsdale. We also are an hour and a half from Sedona. In fact, I was just up there yesterday. We decided to go up there for lunch, and we had a lovely day. We hiked a little bit, and we were back by 4 o'clock, and then we decided to hang by the pool for the rest of the day. So We are a great hub and spoke destination. You don't have to pack up and book several different hotels. You're able to stay in one spot and explore, whether it be north or east or south of us. There are plenty of national parks and historical sites to see. Let's move to the next slide, please. So if you're not interested in making the drive or planning the itinerary yourself, we do have several companies that will do that for you. So for example, if you'd like to drive up, like I mentioned, to the Grand Canyon and have an experience there, we've got companies that will do that. We also can take that trip by helicopter or by air flight. We have airplanes that leave from the area, and we'll go up to the Grand Canyon or even down south to some of the monuments that are there. So there are lots of opportunities to explore by guided tour. Our companies do have specialized tailor-made tours where you can be in an SUV vehicle that's private and it's created just for you and your group. We also have, like you see here, a smaller group tour where they go on a planned itinerary, but you can experience that in a smaller setting. So most of our tour outfitters do try to customize the tour so that you can experience and see everything that you want in the area. So, and next slide. We also have some beautiful areas where you can take trips like train trips. We do have the Grand Canyon Railway that goes from Williams, Arizona and goes up to the rim of the Grand Canyon. And it's a very cool way to see that rim country. The train cars have wide, spacious windows, and some of them even have glass tops so that you can have an observation deck and look out and have a nice day trip experience. The train that you're seeing here is Verde Canyon Railway, and this goes through the lush Verde Canyon. It's just so beautiful. There's actually bald eagle nests along this canyon rim, and you get to see those from your train trip. So for people that are looking to maybe, get away from the pool or the spa, which is hard to do, but to do that for the day, this is a nice day trip to take along one of the railroads. Next slide, please. We also have a vibrant vineyard industry here in Scottsdale or in Arizona. That Verde Valley area is becoming more and more famous for its Arizona wines. And you can see here the barrels and barrels of wines. You can actually go and do a wine tasting trip. That railroad we talked about earlier does a wine tasting train trip as well. To the south of us in Sierra Vista and Wilcox area, we also have vineyards in southern Arizona. The nice thing is you can go out and explore them, and then when you want to, come back to Old Town Scottsdale, where we have 6 tasting rooms that you can go and experience some of Arizona wines right here in our city as well. So it's really the both of best worlds. You can have a amazing wine experience and be able to explore and then come back and purchase your bottles from our tasting rooms if you would like. Next slide, please. So with that, there are so many things that you can do when you come to Scottsdale and when you're planning itineraries for your clients. Whether you choose to stay close to the resort and relax and rejuvenate or explore out beyond our town's borders, there are many opportunities, and we're happy to help you plan those itineraries and to give you suggestions along the way, depending on what your client's time frame and how much they want to do while they're here in the destination. Ultimately, though, we want you to think of us as a place to take a break and to roam freely and to really recenter yourself. It's a place to be mindful of each moment and to be thankful for all that you have. Scottsdale is a place to share with the people who matter most. And that's what we pride ourselves on offering our visitors. We want them to feel better when they leave than they did when they arrived. So with that, I think we're going to open it up for some questions, and hopefully we can help you with anything that you're wondering about our destination.
First, I would like to start off by thanking you ladies for such an amazing presentation. I am sorry that we are experiencing some technical difficulties, but I do appreciate you both for cueing me. With that said, a few questions that we've had come in are in relation to recording. This webinar was being recorded, everyone, and it will be available on ASTA.org by the end of the week, should you want to rewatch at your own convenience or send to any advisors who you think that this may be beneficial for. It looks like we also have some questions about handouts. So if you go to the handouts portion on your go-to webinar pane, should be a little pane that pops up on your left-hand side. There is a white arrow next to handouts, and here is where you can choose to download the PDF version of today's presentation. Speaking of today's presentation, ladies, is there anywhere that our advisors can go in order to gain access to promotional materials that they could use to send their clients and make presentations like this? Because everyone has been commenting on how beautiful the pictures were that you guys utilized in today's presentation.
Yeah, Cara, we have, if you go to our website, experiencescottsdale.com, you can go, there's a tab at the very top to the right for travel professionals where there'll be a drop down and you can download any of our maps. You can also request maps if you would like them to be in more of a hard copy fashion, as well as a request for photos. So if you just go online, it's a few questions, and then we can get you approved to have access to our photo library.
Perfect.
Or you can, of course, always just email me directly too. I can always help you out.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Can I also clarify that if they get access to this library, that there are images that they would be able to use for social media?
Yes, they would be able to utilize those for social media.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I know that Deanne was talking about some companies that will build packages for you. Do they only offer standard packages or are there customizable packages?
So actually, we do have companies that will do customized tours. Pretty much all of them will do a personalized trip for your clients. We're happy to put the request through to them and ask that they reply directly to you. So if you'd like to send us an email, I believe Nicole's email address is up right now. If you do that, we can have any type of tailor-made trip made for your clients.
Thank you so much. Do you know if there are any pre-planned itineraries already listed on the website?
Yes, there are indeed. For example, for the Grand Canyon, there is a pre-planned itinerary. It's about a 13-hour day, so it's a long day, but you can experience a lot in that period of time, with stops for lunch at Sedona, experiences of the Grand Canyon. And if you send us a quick email, we can put you in touch with those outfitters and make sure that you have those pre-planned itineraries in your hands.
Thank you so much. I know that we discussed weather, ladies, but can you please touch on the average temperature during the summer shoulder season?
Yeah, do you want me to take this one, Deanne? I can.
Sure, either one.
So our summer, our summer average, I believe, is 89 degrees, including our nighttime temperature. So because we are in the desert, there can definitely be a drop from the daytime to the nighttime. June through August, you can expect triple digits during the day. It is summer in the desert, but at night, our temperature, like I mentioned, does drop. So it can drop anywhere from 15 to 30 degrees at night in the summer. The shoulder season, that October, November, December, October, typically our temperatures during the day are going to be in the 80s. November, we're closer to the 70s. December is which you could consider our cooler month, with temperatures typically in the mid to high 60s during the day.
Perfect, thank you. It sounds like some beautiful weather to me. Right now we can't get out of the 50s in Alexandria, Virginia, and I would die for some 3-degree temperatures.
Come on out. Come on out.
It looks like we have an advisor who is wondering if Scottsdale is currently closed, and if so, what is the ETA on when it will be open again?
I can handle this one. So actually, we are wide open. Our resorts are open. Our governor just announced that our pools could open last week. So we do have a lot of wide open space here. And so while you can do takeout dining, we do in the next 2 weeks have plans for some of the shops to reopen. Restaurants are doing limited seating as well. They're just asking that you have physical distancing in place. We have had lots of requests from advisors from Southern California, Colorado already, looking to book clients into our resort properties. So we are open for business here in Arizona.
Well, that's great news. That makes me even more jealous of you all. It looks like we have an advisor who is wondering if you guys, or I guess the companies that you all utilize there, if they provide suggested stop points for those who want to drive to the Grand Canyon.
The companies themselves, if you're taking, we have suggested stop points, and we also work very close with our state tourism office as well, to enhance their driving, because there really is so much to see from Scottsdale all the way up north, whether you stop in Sedona or Payson or Prescott or Jerome, or heading down south, to Tombstone, things like that. So those are definitely things that we can help suggest for those guests, most definitely.
Speaking of which, an advisor actually just wrote in and asked if you offer tours to Jerome.
I believe that some of our, and those activity partners that Deanne mentioned, they'll do tours throughout the entire state. So just depending on what you're looking for. I have personally only been to Jerome on my own to explore the ghost town and a little wine tasting.
Speaking of wine tasting, can you please touch on the wineries? It looks like we have a travel advisor who has some clients that are particularly interested in the wine scene in Arizona.
Yes, so we have roughly 70 vineyards throughout the state, primarily in the Cottonwood, just south of Sedona region in the Verde Valley, as well as down south in the Wilcox and Sierra Vista area. Some of the wineries do have tasting rooms. Some of them are truly just growers. Here in Scottsdale, I do believe Deanne mentioned, we actually have 6 of the larger wineries have tasting rooms in Scottsdale. So you can do a combination of the two, whether you're, looking to piggyback going up to the actual wineries, or maybe, coming into Scottsdale and doing a tour, a wine tasting tour in Scottsdale. But yes, there are quite a few, and I'm sure that if they reach out, we can get them a list of those particular wineries.
Thank you very much. With the current state of everything and travel advisors really pivoting how they are selling trips, we have a very interesting question. We have an advisor who is wondering if their client were to drive an RV cross country to Scottsdale, is there a place for them to park it once they arrive?
In Scottsdale? Yeah, that is a really good question. Deanne, do you?
We do.
Because I know. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
We have several RV places. Of course, with all of our restaurants, our resorts, a lot of people wouldn't think that we have places for RVs to park, but several of our parks, there are areas where you can park an RV. We have an area called Westworld that has hookups for RVs. Those are for particular events. We also have in Old Town Scottsdale an RV station where people can park just, I think it's off of McDowell Road, and Hayden. But yeah, if you'd like some information, we can send you. If they're not right in the Scottsdale town limits, we can also send you ones that are nearby, and you can still access everything that there is. But yeah, we do have a lot of RVs coming in.
Thank you so much for clarifying, and what a great question. And it looks like we have an advisor wondering if there is a place where they can access a special calendar of events that are going on in Scottsdale. And with that, can you please repeat when the Indian Festival is?
Yes, we have a fantastic calendar of events. It's actually listed on our website, but we also do print versions. So if you or your client, and it's by month, so if you or your clients ever need a print version of that, it lists all the activities that are going on in Scottsdale, as well as some of the larger events going on in the surrounding area by dates with description. The American Indian Cultural Festival is actually around the same time as the Parada del Sol Parade, which takes place in February. So that's part of why our season, our high season, is that January through April, is some of those great events that we have going on during that time of year. But yes, there is a calendar of events that you can access easily.
Thank you so much. And with that, we are going to be entering into our very last question of the day. But before I do so, I am going to go ahead and launch another quick poll for all of our advisors, just because I know that after all of this amazing information and after we've seen all of this amazing marketing material there is provided by our experienced Scottsdale partners, how excited they are to begin selling. And with that, I also want to remind everyone, again, this presentation, there is a downloadable PDF copy in our handout section of the GoToWebinar pane. It's located in the same area where you would send a question or a chat message to me. This is time for our very anticipated winner drawing. So special drum roll, please. Our very lucky winner for our giveaway from our amazing presenters is going to be Miss Wanda Thomas. Miss Wanda Thomas, I will be connecting you with Nicole and Deanne at the end of this presentation, so never fear. As I mentioned, this webinar was being recorded, so if you would like to listen to the presentation again, it will be available on ASTA.org by the end of the week. We would really love to thank everyone for taking time out of their day for joining us. And I hope that everyone has a great rest of their afternoon. Ladies,
thank
do you have anything to close us out on?
No, we just, we hope to see you all.
All right. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much.